forced him to go to the emergency room. Now, in going to the emergency room, when he goes to the emergency room with a sickle cell crisis, they give him morphine. He already had codeine in his pocket, and the codeine was not helping the pain. So he was on his way to the hospital to get the morphine, and what happened at the hospital, when he went there, well, before he went there, he stopped by the office. My associate came out to his van and said, "Why don't you come into the office to see if Dr. Hapi could help you?" He said, "If I come into the office and Dr. Hapi can't help me, I have to call 911. I have to call an emergency because I'm in so much pain I can't even go back out to my van to drive my van to the hospital to even get the morphine." He said, "The pain is that bad." So my associate said, "Well, come on in the office. Let's see if Dr. Hapi can help you." So he came into the office. I was working with other clients. I gave him an 8-ounce glass of water to drink, this particular water that I speak of. He started drinking the water, and about 20 minutes later, I came and gave him another glass, 8-ounce glass of the water, and I said, "Drink this water. I'll be back. I'm working on some other patients. I'll get to you as soon as I finish." So in another 20 minutes, I went and gave him another glass of water, 8 ounces. So now this was an hour later. So I'm still working with other clients, and I take him another glass of water, 8 ounces. Now, this is an hour and 20 minutes later. He comes into the room where I have to treat him, and so he's laying on the table, and I start working on him and having him go through the breathing, the ANCAR 2000 that I keep speaking about, and he can only do 30 breaths, but there's a certain amount of pain in his legs. And so after I finish working with him, he says, "This is a miracle." He says, "I feel 65% better, and I didn't have to go and get the morphine." I said, "Here's 2 more quarts of the water. Take this home and drink this, and let me know how you're feeling tomorrow." He calls me in the morning. He says, "This is a miracle." He says, "All my pain is gone." He says, "I need to get that machine," he says, "because I've had the sickle cell crises for 60 years. The average person with sickle cell die by the time they're 40 years old. By the time they're 40, the average sickle cell die by the time they are 40 years old with sickle cell anemia." So he was so amazed by this that he has now already got his machine. Within 2 weeks, we went and got his machine, and now he's going to start a sickle cell support group to start saving other African Americans that have sickle cell and going into these crises all the time, going to get the morphine.
Now, we do want to get to, we have one more question before we start to wrap up. Now, Dr. Hapi, I mean, it's so awesome. We actually have Dr. Hapi speaking again on Thursday, December 22nd, and he will be covering healing waters. And I believe this will be, of course, part of the topic. So I just want people to know that if you're interested in hearing more about healing waters, the water machine, these different case studies and methodologies from Dr. Hapi again, Thursday, December 22nd, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. He'll be covering that same topic. Now, Dr. Hapi, we have one quick question, and that I believe probably the next one we'll have to answer after the show. What other techniques do you use to improve your body? And does ANCAR work with people suffering from rheumatoid arthritis?
Yes, it does. And we have a technique called needleless acupuncture. And this technique is a very powerful technique that we've been using for the general public, and we use it in sport medicine also. And what it does, it sends more energy to the nervous system to decrease the inflammatory response. Now, when a person has rheumatoid arthritis, we look at more than just decreasing the pain. We look at what creates the pain. And so in that, there are certain things that they're eating to help cause that problem. And that's why in our next conference, when I talk about water, I start talking about pH and I start talking about acid and alkaline, and that when you eat a lot of acid foods, they cause you to lose oxygen and they help to start setting up inflammation. And when you eat alkaline foods like green vegetables and what have you, they start to help your body to improve. And so that person who asks about the rheumatoid arthritis, they need to get a book called Alkaline or Die. And this book talks about eating foods that are more alkaline and eliminating the foods that are more acid, that creates uric acid that settles in our tissue and cause like great pain by creating what we call an inflammatory process, which would be like if you took a bottle and you broke it, and you took the little thin pieces of glass and you stuck yourself, they would cause an extreme amount of pain. This is what occurs in rheumatoid arthritis. And so you start having your joints to deteriorate and a lot of inflammation selling around them, which cause the swelling. That's the inflammation that happens. And so that person should consider leaving the dairy foods alone, leaving a lot of the red meats alone, and eating more foods that are your vegetables, your green vegetables, your fruits, and eating more live foods and not so much foods that would come from just processed foods or what we would consider acidic foods. Your red meats would be considered acidic, and also your dairy.
Okay. And so everyone that's listening, I just wanted to let you know that we will be posting Dr. Hapi's contact information or the way that you can actually contact his offices on the Ignite Your Soul Connection Facebook page. Then also I want you to know that the last 3 nights audio is now available on igniteyoursoulconnection.com. So again, if you want to tune into the previous 3 recordings of Ignite Your Soul Connection, just go to www.igniteyoursoulconnection.com. So the last question that I have before we just ask you about your different products and where people can find you as we wrap, is that the winter solstice is coming up on December 21st through the 24th, and we wanted to know if there's anything that you do in particular to observe that time of the year. If so, when did you start? And if you could just spend a minute or 2 on that.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation.
That it is,
as far
I'm
as
sure.
Conference call, but just for a couple of things. One of the things is that's when you should detox your body. Every equinox and every solstice, you should take the time out to create the new rhythm for your body. Let me give you an example. When we go from the spring to the summer, we should start moving into more summer fruits because your body is going to get hotter. So then you should be eating more lighter fruits and eating less cooked foods and less heavy foods in the summer. In the fall, you start to eat a little heavier. So you have to cleanse your body from the summer to the fall. Once you're in the fall, you should be eating soups and not so much solid foods, but getting more liquids, because in the fall you dehydrate a lot. And when you dehydrate, that causes a lot of congestion, which also causes you to get colds and what have you in the fall. Your immune system is more compromised in the fall than in the winter. So during those times, you need hot foods, but not so much solid foods. You need hot foods like ginger. You need foods like cayenne pepper. You need foods like garlic. You need foods like horseradish to keep the heat up in your body and to keep the circulation up. In the fall, they talk about getting colds, and they talk about a stagnant humor. The stagnant humor is when your body becomes deficient of its heat. When it becomes deficient of its heat, your circulation slows down. When that slows down, your body gets cold, and when it gets cold, they say you have a cold. But actually your energy has gotten cold. And so to keep your energy up, that's what you have to do. the detox between the fall and the winter.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, you're right. That does sound like it's a completely different topic, another conversation. And again, if anyone has any questions specifically related to that, just go ahead and post them to the page. If you would like to learn more about your system, if they're in the Chicago area or Asar and they want to possibly purchase your DVD or attend any workshops that you have going on, where can they get that information?
They can go to they can call at 312-388-9730.
Okay, and we'll post that information.
9730.
Okay, and we will post that number on the Facebook page, so don't worry if you weren't able to write it down. It'll be available for you. Okay? Well, we want to definitely thank you, Dr. Hapi, for all of your great information, your wisdom, your expertise, and we look forward to having you join us again on the 22nd. And, so again, thank you for joining us on the Ignite Your Soul Connection. Please feel free to continue to engage and make your comments on our Facebook community page. We look forward to tomorrow night, where we'll have a beautiful and amazing guest, Akua Asar, speaking on the topic of inner beauty and love. So, Ignite Your Soul Connection is being brought to us by Master Force International Leadership Academy, whose commitment is to see our youth educated in a way that they experience being self-actualized at a younger age. We are ascending. Good night.